Moving on to long ball number 3 today. Some former United States men's national team players getting into the coaching realm. Most notably, it was announced that Benny Feilhaber, new coach of the Oakland Roots there in USL Championship.
Yeah, big news for Benny. Interesting that he's getting this opportunity in the USL Championship. I don't know. I don't know enough about the ins and outs to know how fair the situation was there for Gavin Glinton, who is the guy that got fired. Oakland's been looking for their guy. They've had coaches they've liked leave the club when maybe they weren't expecting that to happen. So that has kind of maybe slowed down the development of an identity with this team. Go back to Juan Guerra, who left with Noah Delgado before Gavin Glinton, who took over last year, and now Gavin Glinton gone after his run as the permanent manager. But Benny Feilhaber has wanted to be a head coach for a while, and he went from doing, he retired as a player. He was doing some podcasting. He was doing some media stuff. And then he decided, no, I want to be a coach. And with his connections in Kansas City, having played there, they gave him the job of the head coach of their MLS Next Pro team, which I don't know if they were, I think he started maybe before MLS Next Pro got off the ground. I'm trying to remember the timeline here. I remember talking to him on the radio about this. He was working with Ike Opara, who he's very close to. And, that was a developmental job. That wasn't, hey, go win games as much as it was help our reserves and our young players get ready to be starting professionals, right? Make them into better players. And that is fine for a while when you're getting your feet wet and you're learning the ropes. But he wanted to be a head coach. And when Peter Vermees was fired earlier this season in Major League Soccer, Benny Feilhaber wanted the job. He was actively angling for that job. Now, they just put Kerry Zavagnin, who had been Peter Vermees' his top assistant, into the role for now, and I don't know what the search looks like. But I think Benny Feilhaber going to Oakland indicates that he's not on their short list, that they were not seriously considering Benny Feilhaber. So, and there's a couple of things that are at work here, which is one of them is the previous generation of players, like players fairly recently retired, making their way into the coaching ranks, influencing the game on that level, becoming people we can identify as maybe the next wave, right? And you mentioned before the show, Michael Bradley, who had been an assistant with his dad in Norway before Bob was fired, and is now taking a job as an assistant with Jesse Marsh with the Canadian national team, which is, by the way,
let's just pause on that for a moment, that there's an American coaching insurgency in Canada. That's like the satellite American coaching staff.
Yeah, it's I don't think this is the right way to think about it, but it is interesting that one of the best American midfielders of all time is going to go off and try to make Canada better, going into a Gold Cup with an American head coach. Jesse didn't have a national team career, so you can't really say that he's turned his back on the national team. You could say maybe, oh, he's American. Why is he coaching Canada? But with Michael Bradley, it's a little.
He tried to, in fairness to him, he tried to be the American coach, and they didn't give him the job. So
Jesse
it's
Marsh,
within his rights for Jesse Marsh to move on. But my eyebrows went a little higher when I saw the Michael Bradley to the Canada coaching.
Well, he wants, again, these guys want to coach, and they're going to take jobs where they can get them. And again, I think this is a fascinating step for Benny, because being a coach of a reserve team is one thing. Being an assistant coach is one thing. Like, you have to be good to be an assistant coach, but when it's your name that is responsible for the wins and losses, when people look at you when the club isn't playing well, when it's you who picks the team that starts, and you've got players who are upset because they're not in the starting lineup, and you've got to deal with them, and the buck stops on your desk, to use every cliche possible, Rob, it changes the dynamic. Like, it changes the mentality. And I think that's an interesting part of this.
Who would be the next candidate to be the mystery defector to go to the Canadian national team?
Oh,
Or is that
we want
too
to
or is that
imagine
too
Americans turning their back on the US and going to Canada? No,
I
Rob.
guess that's a lead in for who are the
What
most
why
spurned
don't you
Americans.
why don't you just imagine one of the GI Joe team joining Cobra? What are you doing right now? Like suddenly Optimus Prime is the Decepticon. What are you talking about, Rob? I don't know. I don't understand.
We do live in mysterious times, Jason. We do live in mysterious times.
This is obviously, by the way, a major part of this. Bradley did play in Toronto, says CBG Objects. There is the guys who have played in Toronto have an affinity. The Americans have an affinity for Toronto. Like, I think they like it. Josie Altidore likes Toronto. Michael Bradley likes Toronto. These guys like Toronto. Jason Hernandez. I think, this is like kind of he's become a little Canadian, Michael Bradley. And I don't know. Should I be mad at him about that? I don't know. I don't know.
We could almost do a segment of memory hole of like when the American soccer consciousness held him in such a sweet regard. It's like went from sweet to sour, the relationship there, but for a number of reasons. And it's wild that he was the leading light, so to speak, for the American player abroad for quite some time. And I think maybe that's gone down the memory hole just a touch in like kind of the broader thinking,
Oh,
perhaps.
absolutely. I think there are a lot of people who associate Michael Bradley with Kuva, and that's it. And they don't get past that. And that's unfair to Michael Bradley in the career that he had for the US men's national team.
But you could pile on to that. I remember during the height of the Save the Crew movement, there was the playoff series between Columbus and Toronto that he said something like, "Well, the fans should have been showing up anyway," or something kind of detracting against the Save the Crew movement. I remember that kind of maybe soured the memory there too. But circling back to Benny Feilhaber, he joins the Oakland Roots in the USL Championship in a temporary home with a record of 3 wins, 1 draw, 7 losses. That's a tough situation to kind of jump into as one of your big first jobs. Do you think that he's going to get his feet to the fire, turn it around here? Do we know anything about his prowess?
No, I mean, we're going to find out. Like, this is the next step, right? I mean, he wouldn't be getting the job if they were in a good spot. So he's got some work in front of him, and it's his first head coaching job. It doesn't mean that his career is going to be turned sour because of what happens next, but it is taking a risk, which is why I respect it, right? I have no idea if this is the right choice. I have no idea. We're going to see what he brings to the table.
Well, good thing he got in there before he'd have to be in a relegation scrap in a couple of years taking that job,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. Would he have taken the job if Oakland was being threatened with relegation? That'd be tough.
If you're watching this now and you haven't hit subscribe, the little button just under the screen there on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and do so now? It would be awesome. And then tell a few friends, or if you've already subscribed, put it in your chats. Tell them all about Morning Kick Around. Let's make those subscriber numbers go up. And as those numbers go up, more things become available on YouTube and the show can grow. You can also take it up a notch, become a member for just $3.99. You can get early access to videos. You can get bonus content, priority commenting on screen during the program, and access to the Discord. That Discord, whole bunch of threads, general commentary, internationals, European stuff, local stuff, lots of conversations ongoing at the Morning Kick Around Discord. You can find us on the social medias at mkickaround on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. You can also reach out via email, morningkickaround@gmail.com. Outside of the YouTube world, you can support us on coffee.com/morningkickaround. You can select your contribution amount. It doesn't have to be the $3.99 that the YouTube membership is. You can contribute at any level that you'd want, one time or regularly occurring. Thank you to everyone who's done that already. And thank you to those who may do so here now. And then also, one more thing. We're a podcast. Search Morning Kick Around on your favorite podcast platform. And extra note, it's on Spotify too as a video.
Yeah, do that. Make sure. I mean, if you just like set it off, let it play, whatever. Just go do something with Spotify. That'll help out the show. That's how we're going to get more money coming in, which gives us more opportunity to expand the show. The guests, we want to bring better and bigger guests. We're working on some things there. I would also say that if you are a member and you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? And if you don't have access because you don't have the link, because Discord links expire after a certain time and the old one might not work, let me know. I will post again for members on the YouTube channel the Discord link so you guys can be jumped in and be part of the conversation. I mean, there's stuff from the top of the game all the way down to the local game that's going on over there in the Discord, and that's a great reason to become a member of Morning Kick Around. Is it doesn't cost much. We're working on the bonus content for you here on the channel, and you get access to the Discord and the community and all those things. So yeah, I mean, no reason not to, in my mind.
Yeah, I really enjoying the Discord, especially being able to talk about the Champions League game at the weekend, as well as my local Oakland County stuff from top to bottom. This show kind of addressing
Yeah.
it all from an American perspective.
Yeah,
almost.
what I love about that is I talk about this a lot. Like American soccer, you kind of have this idea. You box it in. It's MLS, it's USL, definitely it's Oakland County and all that stuff. But American soccer is sort of just the way we view the game from our position of America as Americans, and that includes watching the Champions League, which had no American involvement, and seeing it through a prism of, okay, what does this mean for how people think about PSG, or whether or not how people are sort of gathering in certain places. Because one thing that is fascinating about American soccer is that it is so wide ranging. The spectrum of interaction with the game that we have here in this country, I think, rivals anything in the world.
No doubt at all. So, with all that said, do all the things, and then you can get on all these conversations and help this conversation grow. We want to be like one of the centers, one of the town squares of the American soccer conversation.